once again, thanks for joining us on this edition of Leading Edge. I'm your host, Jeff Smith. Great to be with you. We have got a lot planned for you this week, so let's get right to it. It was an absolutely abhorrent story confirming that there is evil among us. A missing girl, a family, friends, and a community all search. A grim discovery, a community outpouring of support and emotion, and a father alleged to have sexually assaulted or raped his daughter before killing her and mutilating her body, arrested and charged. Today, I wanted to walk through the police work from the initial notification, the processing, and the behind-the-scenes effort that goes into something so gut-wrenching and so emotional. Joining me is Toledo Police Patrolmen's Association President Mike Haynes. So glad you were able to do this and sit down with us and kind of talk to the fact that this has been one of the more disturbing moments as far as Toledo history is concerned. And I wanted to talk to you about, from an officer standpoint, processing this, but also getting the jump on it, getting a start on it, the investigation. So let's begin at the investigation point, from a missing person to where we got. And how does that work, Mike?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to really speak too much about it because there's kind of, it's an ongoing thing and it's not really to be talked about. But, you have a missing person, we look for people and,
Yeah, I don't want you to...
Yeah, we do. I mean, we do everything we can and then we get to where we've gotten to.
Yeah.
Really what I'm more interested in is the police portion of it, the after effect, It's a scene that's very emotional for officers, and it can really be something that you take home, and I like to, just make sure that officers are okay. We do that at the union. We have a wellness unit that makes sure that officers are mentally okay, they're able to continue on and that kind of stuff.
I know we don't want to get out and say anything that could compromise. Obviously, we've got the suspect who has been charged with this, and we've got a heinous crime. The house where this allegedly happened is gone. But I just wonder, from the moment, from a TPD standpoint, when a tip comes in, how did it... I felt like, from a layman's perspective, I felt like this got shored up pretty darn quick. Was that your assessment as well?
I mean, I'm not really familiar with how, the tip came in and stuff like that and how it all happened. But it seemed like our officers and our detectives moved real quickly. And they were able to get, it's all hands on deck. We had everyone there doing what they were supposed to be doing. And it moved very fast, moved really quick. And that's good. It just shows that our guys know what they're doing. Yeah. They know, when it's game time, it's game time.
Former Toledo Fire Chief Brian Byrd was sitting exactly where you were a few months ago. And I said to him, Toledo, for some reason, seems to be this small city with big city issues, big city ills, if you will. Why do you think that is the case?
If you look at our geographic location, we're stuck kind of between three big cities, four really. You got Columbus to the south, you got Chicago,
Detroit
to the west, right? Detroit to the north, and Cleveland to the east. So, yeah, it kind of seems like even back from the mob era, this kind of becomes the ground where everybody comes to hide.
Yeah, and the bootlegging that went along the Maumee River,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
So you touched on something that I definitely wanted to talk about, and that is specific to the officers and the mental health aspect of all of this, because as we talk about it in the newsroom, and we even have our managers come down to us, you're covering stories that are just god-awful, and you don't want to filter through that stuff. How do you guys get officers through it?
Well, like I said, we have Sergeant Eric Welling. I'll throw a little shout out to him.
Sure. He
runs a great wellness program sponsored by the city. And so we have officers that they have issues, or even if they don't have issues, just want to maybe do a mental health check. Great programs that we can go talk to people, make sure that we're right. We got a great program where if officers need to be off, they can be off to kind of recalibrate, reset, come back and do what they need to do.
How important is it to have relationships? We saw the suspect, Ogletree, get intercepted in Columbus's Short North neighborhood. How important are the relationships with other departments around the state of Ohio, especially when you're putting out an all-points bulletin on somebody who needs to be caught?
Sure. Relationships are an integral part of police work. The crime, the bad guy, they don't just stay in one area. Usually they're running. Someone goes on the run. That's for everybody. They're human. They get scared too. So we need to be able to talk to people, in different departments. So it's not just I'm just calling Columbus or Detroit or whatever. It's we have personal relationships. We meet those people, talk to those people, so they know when we're talking what our conversation is and, you know, the urgency that we might have.
There were questions as the case rolled on, as Jones was caught in Columbus, shot and caught. There were questions about some of the release of information. Are other departments, other department heads, are they held to a certain standard when it comes to cases that don't involve them? And I'm speaking specifically to things that were said about the case. Sure. And some thought it might have jeopardized things.
And I mean, you know, there's...
If the shoe was on the other foot, there was somebody from Columbus who was here, and you as the head of the TPPA, and you got out in front and said, well, we understand this person had their throat slit. We understand. You know what I'm getting at?
Sure. Yeah. You know, it's you know, like any big situation, it's big. Sometimes you just get, there's excitement. There's, that happened to be a particularly weird ending, you know, so they have their own way of having to deal with what they have going on. And
weird ending meaning how he was caught?
Correct.
Okay.
You know, so they have their own things that they have to do down there, as well as, you know, and every department has their own way that they handle things. So, you know, I mean, everyone is, you know, there's just excitement. There's not excitement as in like a happy excitement, but,
right.
You know, it's a very chaotic situation. So sometimes things just get done and...
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about morale. You brought that up before we even came out here today, and you said there is a morale issue right now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we have a little bit of a morale issue with, you know, we're losing officers, and I'll put a shout out to our recruitment team. If anybody wants to come, you can call Sergeant Taylor Dungeon on our recruitment team. Come on out and be a Toledo police officer, make a difference.
Haven't heard that name in a while. I remember her from her Blade days.
I bet you do. Yeah. So, you know, come on out and join the team. But it's not a profession that's really being sought after anymore. So we need everyone that we can get. So you got guys that are working a little, you know, a lot of overtime stuff.
There is a push to bring more officers on board to kind of alleviate that, is there not?
Sure is. Yep.
And you did just sign a new contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
But why is morale down?
You know, it's not just, you know, an outside factor of the job. The job itself is great. Sometimes there's an internal factor. You know, we have some discipline issues. Sometimes the checks and balances aren't working. You know, there's some political issues that we have to deal with when we talk, you know, we talk about, you know, there's just differences between the chief, safety director, the mayor, and we all try to work it out the best we can. Sometimes we don't. Yeah. More recently than not, we're just butting heads. But you, as get figured out. You, as the union head, are you hearing it different than maybe, say, somebody who's trying to filter it through to the chief? Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, I got. You may hear it worse. Sure. I mean, I have an internal look at how things are going, and I try to get it. You know, like this is what's going on inside, and sometimes it's a little scary for maybe a patrolman that's not, you know, senior on the department and is maybe a little shooken on how they want to pursue that. So I'm their voice. I try to be their voice to help smooth things out, get things right. You know, and are there a lot of disciplinary issues right now? Not a ton, but there's a couple of real high profile right now issues that, you know, they definitely need to be, you know, we need to have more open communication. You know, we need to tell each other the truth and stories with, you know, instead of trying to skirt things, we need to just take them and move with what we need to do. But being an officer is a calling. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep, it sure is. And, you know, going back to the recruitment thing, you know, with morale, what you need is who's your biggest recruitment people? Yeah. Your officers. You know, you want your officers to be happy, satisfied, and they're your biggest recruitment team. Yeah. They're going to tell their neighbor, they're going to tell their friend, man, this is the best job ever. Yeah. Come on in. And so to help keep them happy and, you know, actually comes in twofold. A, you got a happier department, and B, you have a whole department of recruiting. Yeah. Right? So. Mike. Don't be a stranger. We appreciate the insight. Thank you so much. Yes. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back here on Leading Edge. They call themselves trailblazers, trailblazing athletes, and leaders. They say their legacy is not just one of victories and records, but of resilience, mentorship, and a relentless pursuit of excellence.
We're taking a moment today to honor the 2025 African American Legacy Project Hall of Fame class and the leadership that works to make sure that the recognition and tradition is there and that it stays there. I am beyond elated to have Coach Leroy Bates joining us here on Leading Edge. It has been a while since I have seen you. It is great to have you. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, it's my great pleasure. It's always good to see you, Jeff.
I not only are you on the committee for choosing this Hall of Fame, but you're an inductee yourself a couple of years ago.
Absolutely.
What's the feeling? What is the pride? Why is it such a great moment?
Well, one, to be recognized by your own community.
Yeah.
That's great, all right? To be recognized citywide through the City League Hall of Fame and things like that. You know, all of that is wonderful because it allows others to see that they can make an impact too.
Absolutely. And you look down this list of names, my goodness. I mean, when you guys are compiling this list, and obviously there's a lot of names, there's a lot of great stories, legacy. Do you look at what those people meant to the community that you touched on right there, not just on their accolades on the court or on the field?
Not just on the athletic side, but also on the community side.
Yeah, the human being side, right?
Right. What impact have they made in other people's lives, you know, since their, most of the time their athletic achievements give them opportunity to go on to higher levels in school. And as you can see, a lot of the inductees, they have had an impact by going on to University of Michigan, you name it, a wide variety of places. So what that does is set the pace for others. I know him, so you're my Jackie Robinson, so to speak, okay? Yeah. You're my Wilt Chamberlain, so to speak. And so that will motivate others in order to do better.
What about the African American community, though, specifically, and why that is such to behold that person, to put them up on that pedestal?
Well, a lot of times because they're not recognized universally, okay? Just in our community, we know who they are, all right? And so for us to recognize them and for their achievements, all right, that sets the bar. And once the bar is set, then they see that others have done it, so they can do it too.
Our Noel Blumel got out to the event the other night, got some great video. Why are nights like this such a great coming together?
Oh, it's about fellowship and appreciation. All right, because you looked at the people who got recognized.
Right.
Okay, Mel Long. All right, you're talking about Melvin. You got.
Todd Mitchell, who I went to St. Francis. I know the stories of Todd Mitchell.
Yeah, and Linda Jefferson, Toledo Troopers. Man, before there was a widespread appreciation for women athletes and things like this. And so it's a chance for us to reflect, remember, and then to reinvigorate the minds of others.
I want to put a shout out to Robert Smith because he keeps the African American Legacy Project going. And it is a testament to his love and his pride in not only the organization, but in Toledo.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, he's not the only person who makes these decisions. Right. It's a committee of 21 people that come together, they vote based on the information that's presented, and then based on that, we select. And it's very difficult because you're selecting one person from each decade.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
From each decade.
Okay.
And so that speaks volumes to the quality of people that we've had in the past that may not have gotten recognized, but now they're being recognized.
What was the one thing you took away from not only being an inductee, but also having that selection, being able to choose that next great class?
Well, I'll tell you, I was one of the original people that helped get this going strongly. And so I wasn't really trying to get inducted. I just wanted others to be recognized. And for them to recognize me, man, it was phenomenal. Because at my age, now I'm 76 now.
Look at you.
All right.
You look fantastic, my man.
So at my age, I'm telling you, it's good to reflect back and say, man, I did something worthwhile.
Yeah.
So.
Do you still hear walking around town people reflecting on the Cowboys and the greatness that you brought to that program?
Oh, beyond a shadow of doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I continue to give back
Yeah.
Right now, we're doing a basketball camp at Scott High School. All right, and I'm a '66 graduate of Scott. All right, and so we're going to do a camp. We've done it last year, and we're going to do another one this year. And we had over 100 kids register.
That's awesome.
All right, so it's giving back.
Yeah.
And we got a bunch of the legends from Scott who are actually doing the instructional part and
Good
things
deal.
like that. And we have people that are guest speakers coming in, talking about athletics and where it can take you.
Inspiration and passion and purpose.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
Coach,
it. All right.
So good to see you. Thank you so
Jeff.
much. And
I
once
appreciate
again,
you.
congratulations to you and the committee for putting together another great Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. Finally this week, the Ohio Department of Transportation swears by them. And no, I'm not talking about roundabouts, although they do swear by those. More diverging diamond interchanges are coming, and Patrick McCauley from ODOT is here to join us today to talk about the other projects on the way, the investment the state has put in our roads in the last decade. And I want to talk to you about, Pat, by the way, good to see you. Thanks for being here. I want to talk to you about that 10 years of $1.2 billion with a B being invested into our roads. How does that get done when you've got a city like Toledo with a decreasing population? How do you go to the state and say, we need this infrastructure, but...
Well, and really, in our positions, even though we're a state agency, we're in District 2, we're all local. We're out of Bowling Green. We have 8 counties in Northwest Ohio. We do go to bat for the area. So we represent ODOT necessarily to the area, but we also represent the area to ODOT and the state. I would say with 75 specifically, and even and 475, we've been seeing increase in vehicle traffic. 75 is the most traveled road on the average mile of interstate in the entire state of Ohio.
Yeah.
So if you take an average mile, it has more truck traffic, more car traffic than 71 or 70 or many of these other places.
And we're looking at some of these graphics, and it may be hard to read at home, but one thing that sticks out is the 3 lanes from Toledo to Detroit, and why that's so important, especially with the Gordie Howe International Bridge opening here in a few months.
Right. So that big investment really started, and we went from Findlay all the way to the Michigan line. And really, they're going into Michigan, too. So when the Gordie Howe Bridge opens up, it's not necessarily for the Gordie Howe Bridge,
right,
but we're going to have that ability, really a 50% capacity increase along that 75 corridor, which is really necessary for this area, and that's why you're seeing a lot of growth. Our logistic prominence has grown greatly in this area, and you're seeing a lot of that development go up and down 75, whether it's in Findlay or North Baltimore or recently 582, but a lot in northern Wood County, you're seeing that as well.
We get all the negative comments on our Facebook page, on our social media accounts about roundabouts. But diverging diamond interchanges, which we've had one for years in Perrysburg, and we're going to see a few more added over the next few years. I want to talk a little bit about why they're a good idea and kind of let people know there is science, there is a method to the madness, right?
Yeah, we're not just taking crayons and drawing stuff, but
let's crisscross the traffic right here and there.
Yeah, let's try to mess people's traffic patterns up as much as possible. No, in all seriousness, the first one in the state was at 270 in Roberts Road in Columbus. The second one was in Perrysburg. That was the second one in the state of Ohio. Got a lot of compliments, a lot of success, but really the reason we put those in and the reason we put roundabouts in, they're safer, they're more efficient at times.
Some of the safety benefits we're seeing on the screen, but go ahead.
Absolutely. So we have fewer conflict points. That's one of. So a conflict point is a place a crash can occur. They increase throughput by 10 to 30%. They increase the efficiency of the interchange by 15 to 25%. They're safer for pedestrians. They're also safer. They make it almost impossible or very hard to go the wrong way down the interstate. Yeah. And we've obviously had some of those fatalities even with people going the wrong way down the interstate. So when you look at the safety benefits, when you look at the efficiency, that's where you see those gains. And that's where even like the one at US 20 that we just showed, that one, we're not even going to replace a bridge. So in many ways, and same thing with 25 in Perrysburg.
And that one's close to opening.
And that one's, yeah. So
there's traffic through it right now, but not to its full scale.
On 20A,
yes. So, on 20A, yeah.
So on 20A, that one will be close to opening. We'll be opening in the summer. So really, when you look at where we seeing a lot of growth, where we're seeing a lot of congestion, a lot of safety issues, you're seeing us look at these DDIs more. So you had the first one in the area on 25. You got the next one will be 20A by Dana Corp.
And you're putting one on Airport Highway.
And Airport Highway, that'll be a 3-lane. That'll be over 475. Then the one on 20, and that'll be under, actually, 75.
Right.
So that'll be our first one under.
Why the Airport Highway one?
Airport Highway, actually, it's one of the, if you look statewide, the corridor is actually one of the most unsafe corridors in the state. It's listed, we actually rank the safety benefit or the safety issues of our corridors as well as our intersections. So when we look at a statewide map, that is actually one of the issues, one of the areas where we're seeing a lot of crashes, serious injuries, and this would help address some of those.
And that one is we're looking like 2027, 28 before that thing ever gets going. There are also studies that are continually done around the area. 475, 75 interchange down in Perrysburg. What are you guys looking for? We've got about a minute.
So the 475-75 interchange, we actually have a feasibility study looking at 475 through the Perrysburg area from 75 all the way to 24. That would be adding a 3rd lane in that area, but we'd also be looking at the interchanges. So we wouldn't necessarily redo the 25 interchanges, working very well. There is that merge condition though when you go northbound. If you go eastbound, I'd say to northbound 25, eastbound, northbound 75, you got to get over a couple lanes.
Yeah.
We're taking a look at that as well as part of this overall widening plan, but also it's not just about the widening. We're actually replacing the pavement underneath. These are 50-year design lives. The pavement, a lot of times the base has failed, but you also have issues where our under drains. So those under drains are metal, they're rusted out many times. So it's not just that we're widening many times, we're actually replacing our infrastructure, our entire infrastructure, and make these generational improvements.
Generational, that is a great word because it is something and we're watching it happen right before our very eyes. Pat, good to see you. Thanks
Pleasure.
for coming on. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Good insight. We'll be back right after this. Well, welcome back for a final time. We want to remind you, if you miss any part of our discussion, you can always find us on YouTube and also on WTOL 11+. I'm Jeff Smith. We hope to see you back here next time on Leading Edge.